Silver compared to the S&P. Which one's the better buy? Do they both suck? Or what is both? So today I'm going to compare the amount of silver it takes to buy one stock of the S&P 500. So I went back all the way to 1985 when the S&P was first made, and what the S&P 500 is it's the top 500 companies in the United States all put into a fund. So when you buy this ETF, electronically traded fund, pretty much gives you a share of the top 500 companies in the United States right now. And then you have, of course, silver has been around for thousands of years. It's a hard asset. It's precious metals. It's cool to hold in your hand and everything else. So, what do these two things have in common? Well, they live outside of the realm of dollars being able to grow in value even though the dollar is deflating. When you compare both of these to the dollar, they both go up. What I want to compare today is the S&P to silver. I want to see how many ounces does it take to buy one stock of the S&P 500. And as you can see, it is everywhere. So now what I want to compare is here's the chart right here, and here's all my data. I will slowly scroll through this so you can kind of see. But as you can see, this was just the closing average of each year of each item. Both have gone up in price. We all know that right now silver is at like $80 an hour. $80 an ounce, not an hour. But I wanted to exclude 2026 just because from 2026 is a little wild. So it was the S&P 500, but it's a little easier to understand a $1,000 jump than a $12 jump and relativeness of percentages. So starting off, 1982, S&P was $120. Silver was $8. Fast forward to 2025, S&P was $6,216 and silver was $40. Now this was average again. That just goes to show you though how much the dollar has gone down. Silver has not changed. 1 ounce of silver has always been 1 ounce of silver. And you can see from 8 to 11, back to 8 to 6 to 5, stays here, and then jumps to 11, stays in the 20s and 30s, drops all the way down to 19s here, and then now it's coming back up to 40. So the thing you can ask yourself is, wow, for the longest time, all these bad boys right here, you're averaging maybe, I don't know, 45, 525 divided by 45, you're averaging $11 an ounce. But again, what we're comparing is how much could that or an ounce of silver buy you of the S&P 500. You can see it was not too bad. Didn't take a lot of ounces in the beginning to buy the S&P 500. It looked about 19 ounces in, let's say, 84. All the way here to the year 2000, it took 288. So you could say that silver was very dirt cheap to the S&P 500. Now, which one was the best to have your money in? Well, I would say the S&P 500. But in 2010, I would say the silver was better to have your money in. So you can see, though, how much it fluctuates. Right now, we're chilling at like 155. I did the average all these numbers, and it says it's about 122. So that tells me is silver right now is a little cheaper than the S&P 500. So it's pointing to, if I was going to buy the S&P 500 and I was going to buy silver, I would probably do more of a spread into silver because it's cheaper to the S&P 500. Now, at the end of the day, they are both better than the dollar. I want to stress that. This is just comparing the difference and how a diversified portfolio could really help you. Because if you had some S&P 500 and silver here, well, you're doing really good. If you had some silver and the S&P 500, you're still doing really good. Even though this went from 288 to 36 in 10 years. Here's the time span right here. Isn't that crazy? Because I sure think it. It's wild. But that is just one thing that I wanted to point out. I'm probably going to start doing more charts like this comparing silver to the S&P 500 to certain stocks. I was thinking doing other items on top of deals of the week. If you did like this, please let me know. I appreciate it. Leave a comment, subscribe. And if any other questions, don't hesitate to ask, but I do think it's just crazy how much things fluctuate when you actually use real money and not just deflating currency.